Good evening, everyone. How are you all this evening?
Hello.
Good to have you here. It is the summer months, and so we are probably lower in numbers because of that, vacations and such. Plus, I heard that there's an all-star game tonight, so that could be
Hashtag priorities.
hashtag priorities. That's right. Where are they? But welcome. We're glad you're here, and please make sure your phones are silenced for the meeting so that we don't get interrupted by a random phone call. We do continue to need volunteers for workshop chair, competition chair, and publicity chair. Those are 3 jobs which I am currently doing. So along with other jobs, website person, and all sorts of things. So if you're interested in being a more integral part of the club, let me know. Next week, we will be doing photo sharing, so please send me your photos. I will put my email in the next email that I send out so that you can send me your photos for photo sharing. We don't have any visitors, but it is that time of year. If you have not renewed your membership, please do so. You can do it online, or you can give me a check, or you can mail it in to our post office box. The address is on our website under membership. The single memberships did increase to $40, and family memberships are $55 now. So the junior and student membership fees are the same, 20 and 15. Or juniors are 15, students are 20. But you know, inflation. If you, I guess that's all I have to say about that. As far as workshops go, next week we are on July 22nd. We are having a workshop about entering the Antelope Valley Fair. We're also going to include a section about what the judges are looking for, what might make your image stand out more to them than maybe you weren't satisfied with how you did last time, and this might help. Curtis and I are teaching that one. And then in August, on our 4th Tuesday, we will be doing a hands-on depth of field and focus stacking workshop. And I believe Roy Patience is gonna do a little Zoom meeting with us about how to do focus stacking. So that should be good. On August 19th, which is our next general meeting, Dan Holmes is going to speak to us about Lightroom tips. And then upcoming in September, we have Chris Broughton speaking to us about street photography, and in November, wildlife photography with Court Whelan. So those should be exciting. Our upcoming competition, our next competition after today is not until October, and it will be Nature General. In the rest of the year is January structures, March photojournalism, and May birds. So when you're out and about shooting, keep those things in mind. Upcoming field trips on July 26th, which is a week and a half away, we are going down to the US Open of surfing at Huntington Beach. And we are going to hang out down there at the ocean and take some great action shots. There's the people who are watching are always interesting, and there's other surfers on the other side, just regular old people doing their surfing, which are always interesting as well. So there's a lot to photograph, and it's a great day. So, the information is up on the website, and you can sign up by commenting on the article. Beyond that, in August, we are going down to we like the beach in the summer, the Manhattan Beach AVP competition, and that's going to be on a Friday. In September, we're going to be going to Alabama Hills, September 11th through 13th for we're going to focus on one night at Mobius Arch and one night at Boot Arch this time, because some people haven't gotten to go to Boot Arch. And information on that will be forthcoming, but block off those days. And then in October 5th is the Aquarium of the Pacific Photographers Night. And I am waiting for them to open up for tickets. So I will let you know when tickets are available so that you can grab some. They don't sell out immediately, but they do sell out by the time of the actual night. So last Sunday was the S4C Awards, end of year awards, and LPA did very, very well. I was very proud of all of you guys. Everybody who entered S4C, I think, probably got something, and some people many things. So good, great job. Keep it up. If you aren't a participant in S4C, it is a local, there are like 15 clubs in Southern California, north of San Diego, because San Diego has its own grouping. It's like a group of clubs that meets or that competes against each other, and you can enter individually your photos into a competition each month and they get judged. So it's a fun way to just see how you're doing and what makes a good photo and that sort of thing. So if you want more information about that, you can talk to me or Nan Carter. She is the most vocal advocate for it. On Thursday, July 31st is our editing discussion group. So it's a little ways in the future. And on our next Sunday breakfast group is on August 3rd. So keep those things in mind. And without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and start our competition tonight. So Mel, I don't know where you would like to sit in order to see them.
Seeing the images.
You can either sit over here. We can, I don't know if there's there. Because they have to be shown up on the screen. How about, yeah, that'll work. Okay. Yeah. We will put the video in front of you once I get done talking. So our judge tonight is Mel Carll. And he is a Santa Clarita Valley-based photographer and instructor, currently shooting architectural, weddings, family portraits, corporate product shots, and special events. He's currently on the board of directors for the Santa Clarita Photographers Association. Is that true?
Yep.
And well, I'm saying like what has changed and what happened. And a past president for the Professional Photographers of Los Angeles County, PPLAC. Mel is an award-winning photographer, having won Best of Show and Image of the Year in the 2010 Professional Photographers of Los Angeles County print competition. 2014, 2016, 2017, and 2018, sweeping it, Commercial Photographer of the Year for the Professional Photographers of Los Angeles County, and has also won numerous awards with the Santa Clarita Valley Photographers Association print competition. So he is our judge for this evening. He will have some great comments for you, I'm sure. Tonight, our theme or our division class is monochrome, which is a very broad pictorial theme for division class, whatever we're going to call it. An image is considered to be monochrome only if it gives the impression of having no color, i.e. of only containing shades of gray, which can include pure black and pure white, or it gives the impression of being a grayscale image that has been toned in only color across the entire image, sepia toned, etc. A grayscale or multicolored image that gives the impression of having been modified by partial toning, multi-toning, or by the inclusion of spot coloring does not meet the definition of monochrome. Pictorial monochrome images are judged both for their technical and pictorial merit. This image must be properly exposed, be in focus, and have an appropriate depth of field. A pictorial monochrome image should have strong composition, pleasing quality and texture, pattern, and or tone impact. The content is unrestricted. So I'm going to turn it over to Paul to
Okay,
explain the process.
Mel, do you have any opening comments?
No, we can do it at the end, yeah.
Get into it? Okay.
Yeah, let's-
Hang on, I'm gonna try and, can we maybe move this to the other side? So that it,
And the online people, you guys, see the screen okay? Hopefully. Roger, Day, you still there? And you see the screen okay?
Let's see, Paul.
Yeah, I can see
All
it.
I'm seeing is Kathy.
Is the Lightroom screen being seen?
I can see the Lightroom screen.
Okay.
Now I can see it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And then what we normally do is do a quick run through, and then we'll go back to the top and let you give comments in each picture. So here's novices. And a quick run through. And here's our first picture.
Is there, do we do titles or no?
no,
No, okay. All right. So on this image here, this is great. I mean, I don't mind that the dog is centered. I love the depth of field with the out of focus toward the bottom. It definitely draws your eye to the dog. The background is perfectly blurred out. I don't need to see what's back there because my whole focus goes to the dog. The only thing that I would do to improve this image would be to open up the eyes just a bit. The dark eye on the camera right side is, you know, because of the black triangle with the eye, you don't really see the eye. So I would probably try to open that up a little bit, but this is well presented and done. Okay, again, the depth of field on this is very nice. I know it's an ocean back there. I don't need to see, you know, the waves directly. You can see the one eye, and the only difference, the only thing here for me is there's no real contact between the subject and the camera. Although she is looking off to the side, which is great, but that's about the only thing you cut off right above the elbow, so that's fine, but you're not cutting off at a joint. I can see the camera, I can see the finger on the shutter. So from that standpoint, this is, you know, this is a good profile of this individual. Okay, this looks like tunnel view, and it's very nice. You know, the waterfall is there. You've got some good clouds. You've presented it nicely. However, I would want to see a little more punch in contrast. It's just a little flat. And, you know, part of that could be because of the lighting with the clouds. But for me, it just seems a little flat. There's the only shadows you have are way in the back. And that, so, but yeah, I just think it needs a little more punch on this one, because if my center of interest is the waterfall, then I want to, be able to kind of focus more on that and give a little more depth to that. The rocks there are a little bright, so I might even tone that down just a little bit as well, so that my eye goes toward the falls. Okay, this is, from a black and white standpoint, it's really kind of flat. And the biggest question I would have is where or what is my point of interest? Where's my center of interest here? The telephone poles on or power lines there on the right side really don't do anything to the image. Neither does that tree. So maybe what you do is you crop up above the phone wires or the power lines so that you don't see that portion, crop down from the top of the sky that doesn't do anything there. And maybe your image is all about the clouds. And then from there, I would definitely add more contrast and try to give it a little more ominous look. And I think that would make it a far more interesting image. Okay, this image is, it's nice. I believe my point of interest should be the flower or dandelion or whatever that is in the center. If it is, I would definitely tone down the background as it's very bright. So my eye kind of wanders more to the bright side, especially on the right-hand side versus the center, which I think is where my interest should be. I would even consider doing a pretty good vignette so that it draws me to the center of the image, which I think is where my point of interest should be. Okay, this is kind of a cool shot of the inside of this observatory. I'm looking out. I like that I can see the stars. But again, I think I would add a little more contrast to it and really make this image pop. It's exposed well. The grays are just they're a little flat. And I know it's, time of day is going to do part of that. So in order to offset that, you definitely need to kind of work your blacks and work your contrast a little more so that you really make whatever it is that you want to pop out. I mean, I would make sure that there's a little more differential of lighting between the interior and the exterior, depending on what it is that you want me to focus on. All right, so this is a great shot of just a still life here. It looks like maybe a bandsaw or something of that nature. But I like the tones here. I like the fact that you've included the entire wheel at the top. I mean, it's very close, but it covers it. And you've given me a lot to look at here. This is a very nice presented still life. Okay, this image is great. I mean, you've got a great conversion here of black and white. You've got him froze right at the center. Maybe a slightly slower shutter speed so that I could maybe see the spin of the wheels in the spokes with the fast shutter speed that you have here. I know that you're doing that to freeze the action, but you froze the wheels as well. So maybe a little motion there would be kind of cool, but everything is tack sharp. I can see everything. I can read the numbers. I can read, the advertisements that he's got on both his helmet, his bike and everything. So this is a nicely froze image. Maybe tone down the whites just a little because in the clouds, they're bordering being blown out. And that would darken that back sky just a bit and make him pop maybe a little more. Boy, this is one of those images that there's a lot to look at. It's well presented from the standpoint that I can see into her eyes, and that is key on something like this. I like the fact that the entire headdress is within the frame. But to see her face and everything there is great. The tones are nice. Maybe the left edge is a little bright, but, and same thing at the bottom of her shoulders on the right side. But all in all, it's great. The shadows are opened up enough so I can see into this very elaborate headdress. So very nicely presented image. So this is a good silhouette of the Joshua tree there. I like what you've done here. I can see the tank on the left side with the detail. I love the fact that the tree is completely silhouetted. I don't need to see the detail, but I see all the individual spikes that are on it. So I think that's presented nicely. You maybe could have cropped up a little and maybe a little less foreground. It's not adding anything to the image. And frankly, this is really a study of two images because you could crop and make it a tall pano and crop out the tank and just go with the silhouette of the tree even. So you've got two different ways you could go there. The sky's a little bright on the right-hand side, but still, the silhouette is really where my eye goes to on this image. Okay, this is very cute. He definitely is kind of looking up. And this is the thing here is, I think what would have made this image a little stronger is if you dropped your camera angle down so that the little boy was looking more straightforward versus kind of up at the camera. I think that if we would have done that, maybe it, although it is a pretty low perspective, but maybe if his eyes were down just a bit, it would be even stronger. Again, I think the whites are a little bright because you can barely read the writing on the sign there of please don't something eat, whatever that says there, but it's cute. I love the idea behind it. I love his hair. That is just awesome. So very cute image. This image works as a bullseye with it, with the flower in the center and just kind of taking up the whole image. I like the way it's presented. Again, I think the whites toward the top part of center, where the stamen is a little bright, but I think again, it's well handled. It's in focus. The edges are darkened, which is perfect because I really want my attention to go just to the flower, nowhere else. So I don't wander around the image except for wandering within the flower. Certainly the lower portion of the flower seems a little sharper than the upper portion. So, you know, whether that matters or not, it's kind of up to you as to what you're wanting to present. But certainly there's enough in focus for me to appreciate this this flower. So this is an interesting image from the standpoint of what you're presenting. It's a very somber looking approach. Black and white certainly works for it. For me, the question becomes, where do you want my eye to go? To the cemetery in its entirety or to a certain headstone? Because none of them are really super sharp. So you kind of wander around. I would probably maybe crop more of the bottom out because that's kind of snow draws your attention. The whites of it draws your attention away from looking into a lot of the headstones there. But what I think what I would do is try to make one of these super sharp so that that's where my attention goes to, because obviously the depth of field drops off for a lot of the stones in the background. So they are there. Like I know what they are, but they aren't in focus. But the front ones, that very front row of 5 on the left are not in focus. The second row, maybe that first and second one might be, but not totally. I couldn't even remotely tell you what it says. But if you cropped in a little closer to it, that might work. Okay, so looks like maybe the Merced River with the Yellowstone, or not Yellowstone, but Yosemite Falls in the back. The falls are slightly blown out. It's a little, again, I think I would add a little more contrast. I like the serene nature of it. The waterfall being the center of attention your eye does go there, partially because it's so white and slightly blown out. So the shutter speed is nice because you do have motion within the water, but I would just drop those whites a little more, which would also make the rocks not quite as bright. And again, maybe a little more contrast. One thing with black and white is you need to really watch your contrast and pump it up some to really give it the punch that you want it to have to make the image really stand out. And again, much of the same. The waterfall is certainly your point of interest. And I probably would have cropped out that tree on the right because I mean, I know where you're at, but we don't need really that portion of it because the center of attention again is taking you to the waterfall. The contrast here is definitely a little stronger, but again, maybe drop the whites just a bit so that waterfall doesn't seem quite so blown out. But good presentation. I like the fact that you've got good clouds and you've got some detail in the clouds. So this is a very interesting presentation. The subject matter is very interesting. I like the fact that you kind of go from bright to dark, going from right to left. A lot of times, we do read from right to left like that. So I don't mind that the almost looks like a smoke effect, maybe, which I kind of like. Maybe a little more detail in that flower. But this is very interesting. I probably might have cropped out a little more of the texture on the left side because it really takes away a little bit from the interest of the flower and the hand there that's holding it. It's really a unique looking image. I would even play with seeing if a vignette would bring it out a little more. You could do that, but very interesting. Maybe even again a little more contrast to make that hand and the flower pop a little more. But I love the effect that you've given it. One of my favorite things, African animals. The white grass is a little bright, but you've got great detail in the zebras. They kind of run together with the legs. You don't know which one starts, which one ends. Is there two? Is there three? How many is there really? It's kind of a fun play with the stripes and such. Their eyes, I can kind of see into them. But again, I think if we dropped the grass a little bit so it's not quite so bright and draw me directly into the two zebra faces, I think that this is a nice strong image. I don't mind all the tree branches at the top because it gives it a sense of place. Okay, so we've got a plane coming through the canyon. It's the problem with this is the underside of that plane is just lost in the shadow. I think I might have opened up the shadow on the plane just a little bit to give me a little more detail of the bottom part of the plane. It's focused. I don't mind all of the dark with the light of the plane. I think that makes it stand out. Maybe there's a little too much on the right side, but you want to give it a place to go. So it kind of works. You know, you definitely looks like you've got somebody standing that's almost directly below the wing, which is kind of cool. At least that's what it looks like. So that's kind of a great timing capture, but yeah, I mean, it works. And it definitely got the action stopped there. So this is a nice set of threes. We as photographers love threes. So this is nice that you've got three, even though there is a fourth one that you can't see, but we are looking at three heads there. The only thing that, I mean, I love the fact that there's the connection with the two and the look of contentment on the third one there is kind of cool. It appears to be just a little too gray and a little muddy. So I don't know if on the conversion we lost something there, but I would definitely look at adding more contrast. The white on the left line is fine. It's not blown out. I see detail. I see the different spots within it, so it's nice. But the connection with the two there is really nice. So we have a nice old barn in the scene here. It's somewhat centered, so that's fine. I've got a nice leading line with the railroad tracks. Although I would have brought that right corner up just a bit so that the right railroad track there starts right at the corner of the image, and then it perfectly leads you into the image. So I'd crop, just a tiny bit up there so that does that. The barn is nice. I mean, I see plenty of detail within the wood, and excuse me, everything looks great there. It's in focus and it's well presented. Okay, on this, I believe this might be an orchid. It's an interesting flower. But I can't see the detail of it very well. It needs more openness to it so where I can really see everything. You've cut off the vase at the very bottom. So the question becomes either if you don't have the whole bottom there, then crop way up and be intentional with the crop. Yeah, my biggest thing is the flower is okay, but it's just not enough. It's just very flat. I do see, the different colors there. There's two different colors with the light and the dark. And you've got the one bud below, but it's just kind of there, for lack of a better description.
Okay, we've gone through them. So, now from this view, you can give them first, second, third, and HMs.
Okay, first place would be actually the very first image, the dog.
Can you give me a second?
Uh-huh.
And that is Tamara the Farm Dog by Darlene Julia Greenshaw, first place.
I think she's online. Is she online?
All right, second place I would give to the motorcycle.
This one here?
Yes.
And that one is, MX Racer Swan Racetrack, Darlene Julia Greenshaw, second place.
And third place, just for the uniqueness of the image, would be, I think it's image 16. That one there, yes,
And that's the third place?
yes.
That one is Simply Hand by Autumn Petty, third place.
And then your honorable mentions. I would go on this particular round would be image 7.
Okay,
Yep, that one.
And that is called Old Bandsaw by
Okay.
Sandy Auburn, HM.
And then also the image next to the motorcycle. That one, yes,
This one.
yes.
And that is Medusa, Vicky Hendricks, Jordan, HM.
And last one, I would go with the 3 lines. Third, the 3 from the end.
3 lines. 3 lines.
Number 19, I think it is. Yeah, there it is.
And that is Lion Family, Vicky Hendricks, Jordan, HM. Okay, is that it?
That's it.
Next, we go to advanced, and there's 3 in this. Do a quick run through. Okay. Here's the first one.
Okay, this is just outstanding. The dog is looking right at you. I've got great blacks, I've got whites that are not blown out. I can see all the detail in the fur. You were intentional by just cropping below the collar, so that all of the collar is there. I can see the whiskers. This is just beautiful. I've got light in the eyes. Like I said, you've got complete attention of the dog. The ears are very nicely laying there, so they're in great. Just everything about this is nice. The background is handled very nicely. You got a nice little bit of a bokeh up at the top right. You've got a light to dark on the background going from right to left. So this is just handled very nicely. All right, this is kind of interesting with with these two. The horn definitely frame the horn in the ear framed the eye of the one in the back. It's very much the front is very much in focus. The back one definitely out with the depth of field. The background. This image could really just pop right off that background. So just, you know, a little more working with your darks and your whites, and I think this is a stellar image. I love the 3 eyes here. You've got the eye at the front one, the 2 eyes at the back one looking right at you. What a great view. The front bird is just perfectly sharp. I love the contact of the eye. And what really makes this image is the 2 eyes in the back looking right at you. I think this is great. I think this probably could use a little vignetting and just give you even more focus on the heads of the 2 birds. You could probably even crop up a little bit. I know that would cut off the foot of the bird there a little bit, but I mean, really, this image is the 2 heads and just nicely captured. Again, I think the whites you could drop down a bit and just give it a little more detail, but Very cool image.
Okay, that's it. A little bit bigger.
So I would go first place the dog.
That is Dalmatian puppy, Suzanne Leroy, first place.
Yeah, I don't have.
Go second place to the birds. And let me tell you, that could go either way, but I love those birds. That's a great image.
And that is vultures at breakfast, Suzanne Leroy, second place.
And then third place to the sheep.
And that's Valley of Fire Sheep, Suzanne Leroy, third place.
Nobody wanted to compete against you, huh?
No, we shouldn't.
Yeah, the next is Master One. We have Master One and a Master Two. So, this is the first one, real quick. Here's the first one.
Wow. This is presented exquisitely. I mean, just lights and darks are great. Everything's in focus. Everything is sharp, front to back. You've handled the bottom front of the engine there perfectly with which is normally a very reflective surface. I love the different tones on the wheel there and just going all the way up. The numbers at the top are in focus and not blown out. The front part, just everything about this image is just handled very nicely. You've got your lights and darks are just handled beautifully. Just well presented image. Okay, so this is a nice little portrait of these two young ladies. While their smiles are nice, you have eye contact, but what would improve this image is first off the background. With all those wrinkles and everything, your eye kind of goes to the background right after you look at them. And I want to stay within their smiles and their faces. The other thing is the cropping on both sides. You've cropped right on their elbow on both of them, and you want to stay away from cropping on a joint. The light obviously is coming more from the right than the left. And you need a catch light in the young girls on the left side. You need some light into her eyes. You've got a little bit of catch light at the top on the girl on the right, but you have none in the girl on the left. So you really need to, if you don't have one when you shoot it, add one. Use your star brush and put a little catch light in there. The other thing is, if you notice between the legs of the right-hand girl, right at the bottom, you got this little triangle of a light trap. And I would definitely just kind of crop that out. And probably maybe even retouch the girl on the left on her right below her knee, that little blemish in her her outfit, just to kind of clean it up a little bit. Okay, this is a cool shot. I love the angle. I love looking up at this. The sky, boy, you got a great sky that day. The sand is a little bright. I would definitely want to tone just that portion of the image down. And really, you could go two ways with this image. You could just tone that sand down and leave it as is, maybe open the shadows up a little bit on the camel, or play with this and go the opposite way and make the camel and the man leading it complete silhouette. I'm not sure how it would look, but I would play with it just to see because it's very, very cool. The angle on this is just awesome. So this is really cool of the watching him work. You can see there's just a slight bit of motion in the hammer, which is great. His focus is right on whatever it is that he's doing. You could probably even go in a little tighter and give me a little less of the window and a little less of the machine up front so that I could really see what he's doing. But you've handled the darks and the whites very well. The windows are not blown out. They're a little bright, but they're there. That's fine. That's what you're gonna have. But I almost want to see a little more of what he's working on because it's very interesting. So you're drawing me into what he's doing. And even the beard, I would even try to bring out a little more texture in his beard. Cause I think that would just really make it even more of an individual, but, nicely presented. So this is kind of cool because you've got the stairs to unknown. You've kind of left it as a mystery. I like that the light is at the top, the dark is toward the bottom. And then just out of nowhere, you've got a chandelier hanging there. I'm not sure about the complete darkness of the left side. I might want just a little bit of place there. But I like the fact of the stairs going up. They do seem to lean a bit, so you might want to just straighten that just a touch, so maybe the stairs look a little more level. I mean, that may be the way they are, but because you're making my head lean a little, looking at it, you might want to just try to straighten that and maybe give me the whole rail at the bottom. You've cut it off just a bit. If I had the entire rail there, that would really kind of coincide with most of the rail that's on the opposite side. So that you give me both sides there, but this is definitely a unique image. Okay, this is very cool. I love the fact that I can see all the way through this image. The bricks on the left side are straight. All of the entire brick going all the way through, each of the individual looks like maybe cannons there are all straight. The lighting is handled well, all the way to the unknown darkness at the end. Well presented, well handled. I've got detail everywhere I want detail. This is just really, really nice. Even the front cannon is not, the darks have not gone black. So I see where it is. I see the line going up the side there. So this is handled very nicely. Okay, so a great shot of a plane in midair. It looks like you could have a cloudy day or something that gives you kind of that white background. I like that I can see into the cockpit. I would even I would probably consider giving it a little more contrast and just make that thing just pop out of the sky. I know, it could be just a little fog. I'm not sure what the background, really is. I don't really care because there's nothing in there that I need to see, but I just want the plane to just give me a little more definition of it, but great capture. I can read, the emblems, I can read the tail number. So this is handled nicely. So again, another one of these shots with the bricks leading to nowhere. this is kind of cool. I don't think it has as much of a impact as the prior one, just because I don't know, there's nothing really for me to look at other than just looking into, you know, the far wall. It is very cool. It's handled nicely. The ground is a little bright midway toward the back. But again, it's, the exposure's nice. It's an interesting image. Everything is straight that I want straight. Timing is everything on this. You've got the front wheels off the ground. You've got a little bit of bend in the back wheels from the start. Everything is sharp. I mean, I can see the eyes of the driver all the way back to the guy standing in the back with his arms crossed. Great. Even the decal underneath the engine there, I can see. I can read the Hoosier on the tires. I mean, it's just sharp all the way through. Just the exposures are handled very nicely. Nothing is blown out. Nothing's too dark. I mean, you've got plenty of open shadow with the front end. I can look all the way into the radiator area. So this is handled very nicely. Oh boy, this will be a little tough. I'm going to give first place to number 6.
That one is Mini Doors and Cannons, David Wilkins, first place.
Now that's very cool. Oh, second place is a tough one. I'm gonna go, just because it really intrigued me more than anything, is image number 3, the camel.
Okay, that's Camel and White Sands, David Wilkins, second place.
In third place, ooh, this could go either way. I'm gonna go with the first image, the steam engine.
Third place, that is Steam Engine from Yesteryear Face, Scott Shackelford, third place.
And it was a tough one, but I'll give the honorable mention to the wheels up. That's the last image.
Okay, Wheels Up, 3293, Fred Lawton, HM.
Yeah, that's very cool. And I would give another honorable to the plane, just for handling that background as well as it was handled.
F-16 to the range, Fred Lawton, HM. Okay, any others?
I would go ahead and give one to the blacksmith. That is just a really interesting image.
Okay, Blacksmith Pounding Hot Iron, Scott Shackelford, HM. Okay, moving on.
Moving on.
The next is Master number 2. Quick run through. First one.
Wow, this is a really nice portrait. The eye contact with your subject to the camera is amazing. Look at the eyes. The eyes are, I mean, you're probably bordering on almost too sharp, but they are sharp, they are piercing. I love the way they're looking right at you. The hand is perfectly placed with the fingers on the glasses. It looks like on the left side, you haven't cropped up, cut into the feathers that's on his outfit. The cropping on the right side is great. You know, the background may be a little bright, but that's just personal preference. I think all in all, it makes him pop. The detail on the feathers throughout his outfit is great. Just a really nice presented portrait. I don't mind that the top of his head is cut off a bit because your mind just completes it, so you're not really worried about it. So I like the placement of it. I like it being a little bit on the right side like that. Okay, so very nice portrait here, her looking away. Everything is sharp. You've got a good profile of her eye, her nose, everything there. I can see the detail of the hair just coming from the far side of her neck. So that's, you know, there. It's a little bright on the background and, you know, again, it seems like maybe that's my preference. I don't, you know, it's not really a problem. It's not blown out. The darks are fine. You don't go muddy with her skirt. So I think everything here is kind of interesting. I love the way her hair is handled there, especially with a little bit of the flyaways on the back. All in all, this is an interesting portrait. Okay, so this is just handled really nicely. The detail in her sweater is perfect. The eye contact is great. I can see catch lights in both eyes. Her expression is nice. I mean, this is probably an image that somebody would love. The chair, I see just enough of it. Her fingers are nicely spread out. The nails are nice. I mean, her hair is very neat. The background's great. I mean, this is just a well done portrait. Okay, the shot here is very interesting. I love the look. I love his expression. But for me, I'm not quite buying the tonality of the yellow. If it could be a sepia push too far or just the coloring that you're using, but I don't feel like this yellow worked. I think that you maybe should have stayed a little closer to sepia. The expression on him is great. You've got lots and lots of detail in his face. It's very rough. It's great. I don't mind the fall off on his hair on the back. It's great, but the tonality doesn't work for me. So going with an old type of processing here with the whites on the edge perfectly works for this kind of image because a lot of times that's how these were presented. So in this case, this actually works. I don't mind the softness of the background, and even the guys they're sharp, but not sharp. There's a lot of noise, which for this kind of image is what you would normally have. So the edge lighting could maybe come down just a touch, but other than that, I like the presentation of this style of an image with that type of of subjects. Now, this is a great risky type of a shot. You've covered up the eye on the left side, which in a lot of cases is a no-no. But in this case, it really works for the mood and what you're trying to convey. I see a little bit of a catch light in the corner of the right eye. You've got plenty of light that's going from right to left. It catches her cheek, just the edge of the nose, into her hand. So that gives me the direction that I want. I can see detail in her outfit. The expression works, her hand works. Maybe her hand is a little bright because of the fall off of the light coming across her, but it's cool. I like it. I mean, it works. So again, you've got a great subject with lots of great detail. I mean, look at the fur on this jacket. You know, you've got a guy that's got character. The hat's got character. Everything about him does. The background works. But for me, again, the yellow coloring just loses it. I think that if you went straight up sepia tone, I think this would rock. What a great character. The lighting works. I can see into the eyes. Maybe a little hot on the right side of his beard, but just tons and tons of character and detail on this. So this conversion's handled really nicely. I mean, I can see detail in all the slats there on the roof, all the planks on the ground. It's a nice old patio, or not patio, but a deck there. At least that's what I'm assuming. It's old, it's rickety. You can see parts have fallen down. You can see lots of detail in the wood. This is cool. Okay, so we got some carrots on an old time scale. The conversion is very nice. I don't mind that there's not a lot of contrast to it. I love the look of the scale itself with the grain that you can see. I almost want to see a little more of the carrots. And I think I would have on the bottom, maybe not cropped it right at the edge of the circle there. I would have given me the entire circle there and maybe a little bit more of the carrot on the top, but it's okay, it works. I love the old time feel of this scale and look. I like all of the grain that I see in this image. Okay, so we got a time trial cyclist here. The biggest thing for me is we cropped off the helmet. Is it not cropped on the original image?
It's about the same.
Okay. Yeah, I would give it the top of the head more room so that it wasn't quite so tight. And maybe gone a little bit different on the shutter speed to give me a little motion in the spokes. We've used a pretty good shutter speed to stop the action, but I think the motion of the wheel would have really added to the impact of this image. I have the illusion that you're going slightly uphill, which is fine. But I think the biggest thing is I need more room at the top of the image. So the timing on this one is very interesting because you've got the sun peeking over the hill in the background, which is kind of interesting. You've handled that exposure well. I like the sense of place of it being old. I see old stuff on the floor. You've got the pots and that on the stove. The detail is all there, all the way up through the roof. I can see detail in the wood on the boarded up window on the right side. But I think the sunburst in that really just kind of adds to this image and makes it a little more interesting and gives me kind of a couple places to bounce back and forth between the sun on the hill, and then the stove and the kitchen. So this is a really cool image of, you've given me the path on the left side to look down. And then I can kind of come back with the houses on the right side. So you've kind of made me go from the bottom of the image through the image and then back out of the image, coming through each of the 4.5 houses there. The detail of the dilapidated houses is great. You handled the brush very nicely. It's kind of a cool image that really kind of makes me look all around and keeps me kind of going back and seeing something different. Like I go back through again and I look and go, okay, is that a little trash barrel toward the front? Is that a rail just behind it? You know, so you make me look through the image and try to figure out what it is I'm seeing. Okay, great setup here. This is great. The detail is great. You've given me the illusion that I'm looking through a window, and maybe I am, which I don't mind. It's kind of cool. It's the detail is great. I can see detail in the fur of the jacket. I can see through to where the eyes are on both gentlemen. The hands up are great. The gun in the mouth is awesome. Just a well-composed, fun image. Nicely handled. So here's somebody that's very happy with what they have here. It's great. The exposure is okay. It's a little bright on his vase that he's made. I would have liked maybe a little more eye contact. I know with him smiling, it causes his eyes to close. So be it. That's just who he is. But I think that I want maybe a little more contrast and a little less of the whites so I can really see the detail of this vase that's there, because from the looks of it, it probably is pretty exquisite. All right, we got a lot of detail in this exit here door. I can see where the door handle is, the lock. It looks like maybe a light switch there on the right side. You've got lots of detail all around. I'm a little questioning the color palette of it. I think maybe this one probably might have been better as just a hardcore pushed contrast black and white. Because you've got so much detail and maybe even over sharpen maybe a bit, but just tons of things to look at with the walls and the discoloring of both the walls, the doors, the floor. There's a lot to take in here. Okay, I love the angle of this. I love the God rays and looking up through the trees. The exposure is great. I don't need to see detail on the trees. I've got enough detail in the leaves up above. The God rays are not over bright. I can see them all the way through the image, going from center all the way out, all the way through it. This is just really, really a cool image. Wow on the detail. Look at the detail of this, what I would assume is a flute, possibly. The sheet music is perfectly sharp. The flute is sharp. Everything about this is just sharp. Nothing is overexposed. I can see all the detail of the notes into the flute areas, all the keys there. This is a cool angle of both music and instrument. Really handled well. Okay, this is a cool portrait. You've got great contact, eye contact with the model. The hand is, the hand right at the bottom of the image is just so big. And you've got it right at the edge of the fingertip. Just a hair more room there would work. The lighting, it's a little flat. I mean, there is some detail on the nose, a little bit on the forehead. Definitely have catch lights in the eyes, so that's good. The lighting on the left, upper left is a little bright on the stairs. I would have definitely toned that down because it's not giving you anything to the image, and none of that light, for whatever reason, hits him. It's just lighting the stairs going up, and it looks like that light is coming from above down. So it doesn't add to him, but you've got plenty of detail in the pants and in the shirt. You can see the wrinkles. So it's an interesting portrait, but the only thing that bothers me is the size of the front hand. It's just big. It's kind of prominent in the image.
And by the way, in the original image, there is a little bit more space.
Okay, great. Okay, then that's good. On the finger?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So that's just the thing. Okay.
Somehow that happened.
All right. Yeah, it's cool that then with the ample room there, that's great.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Another one view.
Okay, first place for me will be number 16. Yes, that one.
Okay. That is Sun Through Trees, Andrew Lewis, first place.
Really?
A little bit.
Wow, that surprises me. That's handled really nicely. I love that image, actually. Second place is a toss-up, but I'm gonna go with the flute and music right next to it. That is a really striking image.
That is Flute Reflection, Kathy Newman, second place.
Very cool, Kathy. Third place is gonna be image number 3. Yes.
That is Isabella Sitting, Kathy Newman, third place.
Okay, honorable mentions. There's gonna be a few on this one. The first image,
Okay, that is, Fode, The Fallen Angel, John Gilden, HM.
image number 5. The processing on this is just really cool. It just fits this image.
That's As It Might Have Been by Christine Wilkins, HM.
And the image right next to it, number 6, you took a risk on this one with the hat covering the eye and everything. Very interesting.
That's Tip of the Hat, Kathy Newman, HM.
And the last one will be image 13. Just the humor of this is awesome.
Okay, that is Frontier Justice, Tom Jordan, HM. Okay, that's about it. And that concludes, the competition.
These are a lot of great images. The one thing that I would, for me, looking at these with the conversion of going to black and white is don't be afraid to push the contrast when you're converting, because some of these are a little flat. And I think that if you push it just a little bit more, you're gonna really transform a black and white image. So that would be the one thing I would say on these. Just don't be afraid to push it.
Do you guys have any other questions for Mel? Yeah. have a judge in person, which has been like a few months coming. So if you guys have.
Yeah, don't be afraid.
I got a question.
Fire away.
If you're gonna print these and get really good black and white prints, is there a trick to getting more of that black or that whiter contrast?
Well, within either Lightroom or Photoshop, depending on which one you use, go to your levels or your contrast and really push it. Go, one step too far and just back it up just a bit. Watch your histogram to make sure that you're not taking the blacks all the way into that 255 range. So stay within, your histogram. Don't go too far. Well, and same with the whites, just stay just off the edges. And I think you'll be fine. You'll find that it really will transform your conversions.
Yeah, I think that's right. I would push it a little more.
Yeah,
From the back.
be bold, go bold. Don't be afraid, and you can always go too far and then look at it and go, yeah, that's a bit much, and then just back it off. But I think it's better to go too far and back off than not even go far enough, because then what you're left with is really kind of a flat image. You get a little more gray and lightness than, the blacks and the pop that you really want.
Those days in the dark one, it seemed like it was easier to get that pop. When you actually went in the dark one with the paper, silver highlight. Paper.
Yeah, but I think that if you play with your curves, you can play with levels and the contrast slider too. All of those will give you that feel. Yeah. Anybody else?
Now's the time to ask.
Speak now. No, black and white is a fun way to go. I really, on some images, because of time of day that you may shoot or the subject matter, a black and white image will work far better than a color. So don't be afraid. In fact, I go back and probably 2/3 of my images, I'll throw it in the black and white just to see what it looks like. And sometimes by throwing it in black and white, it will make you look at the colors a little differently, because then you can go into your color channels, play with those colors, bring those colors out, and then go back and convert it to black and white. And you'll see that now you've got the contrast and the detail that you're looking for by playing with the color, then go back to black and white, go back and forth, and you'll find that it actually might make that image a little more interesting. Okay.